is for me to help you to understand the new initiative that the government of the Bahamas took on to do something that we all know need to happen. That is to begin to retrain and retool our workforce. I just want to acknowledge somebody in the audience that you in Grand Bahama will get to meet and know, and that's Mrs. Norma Piper. Norma is going to be the manager of our NTA offices here. And also Dr. Davo just stepped in, and I do want to say that how much we appreciate the intensity, the support that you're pushing behind this effort to retrain and retool, and we know you understand. So we appreciate it, as Bahamians would say, a lot. So, I'm good at a lot of things, and I'm smart at a lot of things, but I'm not good at technology. So I came down a couple of weeks ago, and Corinda gave me my first lesson on the clicker. Because I said to Corinda, can you sit down and do my presentation for me? And she said, oh, Miss Marcelle, you can use the clicker. And I said, what's a clicker? And so she told me, show me. So I'm going to attempt to use the clicker. So, one side of the investment coin, the physical resources. And that is the investments that come in terms of all the buildings and the amenities and all that we spend a lot of time and a lot of money on. We want to make sure that our buildings and our rooms and our facilities are in top-notch shape. We want to make sure that our offerings, the products to our customers, are in top-notch shape. And so, it only makes sense for us to look at the other side. Because no matter how beautiful the building, no matter how much money you spend on it, if you don't have people who interact with other people to make them appreciate it, then you still have a challenge. Some years ago, I wrote a little book. I authored a little book called Hidden Gems of Quality and Excellence. And this was one of the things that I realized. People work with their hands. How well they work comes from their hearts. You may hire a pair of hands, but you must woo and win a heart. And I want to say, especially to employees, it does not come automatically. We have to work with them as we expect them to work with us. So we are trying to develop the human resources, but from a different standpoint. At the National Training Agency, we are a skills, competency-based organization. So most of the things we do with them doing demonstrated learning. So that when those young people come to you, they already know how to do something. They're not coming just fresh. They know how to do something. The other thing is, because we are a national training agency, not an institute, not a school, not any of that, an agency offering a service that right now only the government of the Bahamas is paying for. We are doing it for people who we believe need help. Now, from all the statistics and the newspaper clippings and stuff I see, and from our own minister, we know that Minister of Education and Science and Technology, that is, we know that there are a number of our young people who are coming out of school without, and I say this in the very nicest way, without adequate academic acumen. I know that because many of them that we are dealing with have a hard time just filling out an application form. So those are the sorts of young people that we are targeting. We want to help them to be able to find the gift in them that may not be academic, but we know God has given them something, so we want to help them to find it so that they are able to make a meaningful contribution to the workplace. And the National Training Agency is focused on that, so we will tell you who they are later. So this is what we are going to be. We're going to be that agency that builds a competency-based training and job placement system that is flexible and responsive. And I need you to note those two words, flexible and responsive. And that should be responsive. Flexible and responsive to the actual requirements of the workplace via a network of suitable industry training providers. The reason for the flexibility and the responsiveness is that as the economy grows, we are going to need people who can fill the jobs that are going to become available. Just a few weeks ago, the National Training Agency, even though we haven't formally begun our work here, we came down and we worked with the Ministry of Tourism, the Industry Training Director out of Nassau, Ian Ferguson, and we worked with the Ministry of Tourism's office here, Ms. Sandra Russell and her team, and we actually did a 2-day, very intensive seminar, workshop for the Sunwing organization for memories. And we had over slightly more than, I think, 300 people in that workshop, just getting them ready in terms of expectations, workplace expectations, attitudes, behaviors, the customer service, the sorts of things to make an organization successful. So we worked with them, and we are working with our young people so that they understand this. So you will find us we do short-term training, roughly 14 weeks. 4 weeks of mandatory workforce training, we call it, and 10 weeks of skills training. To give you a bird's eye view of the NTA, it was launched by the Prime Minister on the 15th of July in Nassau, and those are two quotes that are very meaningful for me and the agency, because we believe those, and in believing them, it's going to help to make this happen. We have challenges, we all know that, but I believe that it's in our best interest to focus on the things that we need to do to move us where we need to be, instead of focusing on all of the challenges. Because when you look direct at those challenges, they're going to seem overwhelming. But when you look at where you want to go and where you can be, then it's going to be very doable. Our appointed day of becoming a legislated autonomous body, and we are that now, was November 19th of last year. And so that same little band of pilgrims, we make happen what I'm going to demonstrate to you. So I'm saying it doesn't take a whole big army to do some wonderful work. What it takes is people who are committed, who are passionate about what they do, and who want to see it happen. So our first registration and training activities, July 22nd to 26, 2013. We focused on the age group school leavers to 26, but we extended it to 29 because a lot of the 26 to 29s did sign up and they had no sort of certifications, no anything, so we didn't want to turn them away. These are some of the, all the pictures you see are actual from what we do. So we work in two parts. The criteria for them going on to skills is to first complete successfully the mandatory workforce program, which is 4 weeks. During those 4 weeks, we address things like attitudes and behaviors and managing conflict and confrontation and teamwork and all the things that they need to be aware of and need to have a handle on in the workplace. In order for them to go on to skills, they have to complete those 4 weeks. And here's how we do it. Either you want to do this or you don't want to do this. So, you can't be late. You can't miss a day. And the 4 weeks is 3 half days a week. And we figure if they cannot commit themselves to 3 half days a week for 4 weeks, they won't commit themselves to 10 weeks, and they won't commit themselves to your jobs. So, in the National Training Agency, they miss, well, they didn't know this, but I told them, you miss one day, you out of here. So all the folks that's going to come and sign up in Freeport, the same thing goes. Now, I did give them 1 day that they could miss, but they didn't know. So we only had 3 people who missed 1 day. And one of them went to the hospital to have her finger set. So she came with her new splints, you know, that thing. She came with that and her little note. And 2 were before the magistrate's court. And I want to tell you something. They told the magistrate where they were. And she said, if you can bring me a note from her and tell Ms. Marcelle she can write it, I'll see what I can do. And they came back the next day. And because they were misdemeanors, the magistrate let them off because she said, you're doing something worthwhile. I'm saying to you, we need to hold them accountable. They're missing discipline, our young people. They're missing discipline, they're missing encouragement, they're missing all those things because they don't get it at home. Most of them don't. And so when we see something going on, like if they miss a day, somebody out of that same little band actually calls them to find out, why didn't you show up? And I want to tell you, you know, don't feel too badly about them. They all have cell phones. And so for us to reach them, we have to get them on the cell phones. So they finish that training, then they go to our competencies. And our first graduation was on the January 27th, just as this year. And I tell you, perhaps the most encouraging thing was to see over 300 of them walk across the stage. Wow. And I stumbled at 700 because when we did the first registration, 900 of them registered. 200 of them didn't meet the criteria at all because there were 200 who insisted that we were running the former job training program where they went out and they just, no accountability for anything. They just went and took a wonderful initiative that the then government did to help and took advantage of it. That was so wrong. And nobody, there was no accountability from anybody. Not from them, not from the employers. And so this time it can't be like that. Because Mr. Rowe just said we don't have any money. So our first training session lasted from August to November. We have a 90+% passes in hospitality. These are people who can actually do something in housekeeping, food and beverage service, and food preparation. And their exam assessment was done for City and Guilds, was done by them demonstrating what they're able to do, demonstrating and explaining, so they didn't have to write. In office procedures, we had 83% pass, 41 persons took the exam, 34 of them passed. And next time, I'm going to do a better job of editing, because 33 passed the office procedures, and yes, 66% of them with first class pass. 66%. These are your young people that you say are untrainable and unemployable. I cut it out 3 times out of the newspapers from employers. These are the ones you say. That's their passes. The results are not in yet from City and Guilds on the retail knowledge. We had the auto service internship was done free of charge by Sampling Motors and Bahamas Bus and Truck. They were corporate citizens who said, we want to be a part of this. Also, the high-end retail was done by Diamonds International. And they had they took 15 trainees from us. They kept 13 of them. And so 13 of them are working full-time. Like I said, we partnered with City and Guilds for international certification. We are currently doing it at level 1. And I want to tell you all, I thought my standards were high. But compared to City and Guilds, I have miles to go. And they told us when we applied to be a center. They're UK-based. I'm sure many of us are familiar with them. They do the Pittman and the RSA that we know, and the one I used to do, the GCE qualifications framework. They do that. And they told us when I applied, they said, listen, we don't compromise our standards for any country, any center. They are operating in over 80 countries in the world, and they have over 10,000 centers in the world. And they told me, you can't meet the criteria, you can't have our you can't be affiliated with us. And at any time you're not meeting it, we shut you down. So I want you to know, it wasn't when we did that for a reason, you know. The reason we did it, because, and I say this in the very nicest way, we think it has to be foreign endorsed to be better. I have no problem with that. I just want you to be better. So this is the way to get that recognition of better, then we do that. Now, the wonderful thing about this is, wherever these young people go with their certificates, it means exactly the same. it's like a GCE. A GCE is a GCE. You go to Canada, it's a GCE. You go to Australia, you go to New Zealand, you go wherever. These certificates are just like that. So they are at level 1 because that is what the government pays for. They will be able, we hope, they will be able to do levels 2, 3, 4, 5, go right up, but they will have to pay for it. And we are just praying that we will be approved as an assessment center to be able to deliver the qualifications. Our training providers, Bahamas Baptist Community College, the National School of Accountancy and Professional Development, Bahamas Cultural and Hospitality Academy, and Talent Solutions. They were first accredited by the NTA. Then they had to be approved by City and Guilds. They sent their chief verifier down, who had to go to all of these places to make sure that they were fit to deliver their qualifications. The instructors are all industry experts who are approved by the National Training Agency, and then they must be sanctioned by City and Guilds. So we don't do classrooms and labs and training facilities. We go into the industry and we find the industry provider. What is the rationale for that? The rationale is the industry says we need competent people. So let the industry train them. So when the industry trains them, we would expect that you are training them in the right way, coaching them, because City and Guilds send their guidelines, but they leave it up to the country to fill in the content in the guidelines. And so we thought, what better partnership than that? It also helps us to get away from a phenomenon that worries me. It seems like we have trainers who spring up from all over. Your job is made redundant, you are a trainer. Doesn't work like that. So we wanted this because of the, I think because of the enormity of what we must do with our workforce. We had to do it this way, Dr. Darko, just to make sure that the quality remains good. And what it has done is it has raised the value of the way the trainees going through the program look at themselves. They feel they have something of worth when they come to you. Our internship partners, and I mentioned them, they provided 8 or 10 weeks of internship. Now what is amazing about this is these young people didn't get $1. They got over $200 a week. Most of them didn't produce anything, for nothing. This time, they sit here because they want it, and because there are people who are not afraid to tell them, you got to start from somewhere, and mostly that somewhere is your foot in the door. Because we have people who tell these people, oh, you could be the CEO of Memories Resorts, get a life. To be the CEO, you have to first get a job. And to be the CEO, you have to be, y'all want me to tell you something? And maybe I have been blessed, like plenty of you that I'm looking at in this room that I know, because I lived in Freeport for 10 years. But some of us have been blessed to travel. We have been blessed to go to different places. And I tell you, I've stayed in some places that you all know what that means in Bahamian, right? Okay? that make us look like a joke. That's true. Maybe not a big joke, a little one, but there are many places that are better than us, the service we give. Let me tell you something. I saw something in Trinidad in July. The Hyatt Hotel in Trinidad. You know what impressed me? It did not matter to them what the guests looked like. That blew me away. They were responsive. They were just wonderful. They looked like they liked to work. They looked like they enjoyed working. Now, I promise God I'll only do one thing with my life. That's encourage my people and lift my people up and share with my people. That's a big enough job. But some of us got a problem. We got a big problem. I don't know if it's because we have arrived. We don't like it anymore, that's what I'm trying to say. Look at your face. I got here this morning and I look around, I say, Lord, who would I like to work with? And I say, oh, she's joking, she's from France. She's, you know, it's okay, I'm serious. It's okay to smile and it's okay to laugh and it's okay to tell me about myself in a nice way. It's okay, we have lost it. Bahama took me to Vegas and we stayed in, I think it was the Encore. Beautiful property. Beautiful, beautiful. They spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on flowers. Flowers outside. Everything real. Everything real, real. Millions of dollars on the outside. And I want you to believe. You need to go there. Because they spend millions on the inside, on their employees, obviously. You know how I know? The back of the house looks almost as good as the front of the house. Where the employees pull up to park, looks just as good as the front of the house. When you walk through the employees' park, well, see for yourself. You don't believe me because some of y'all didn't believe in a word I say. Go and see for yourself. When you walk in, all the employee services, when you go where they eat, you can't call it a cafeteria. It's upscale dining. And they have everything you want to imagine. They treat them well, so guess what? They give out. You have to woo and win a heart. You hire hands. You woo and you win my heart. All right? And they give. And all those people, they don't talk much. You know? They don't sweet girl you and honey you and darling you. They don't talk much. Okay? I asked the lady, the room attendant, she was outside with this big trolley linen and towels, and I needed a washcloth. And I asked her, can you give me a washcloth, please? And she said, morning, miss. Don't think so. Have you called the front desk? So don't tell me you need to be no perfect English major working in a hotel. All she needed to know was, do I want to call the front desk? What I call the front desk. But it was the way she said it. You know, the smile. She was nice about it. And I called the front desk, and they just said, good morning, Miss Marcelle. How can I help you? How can we assist? Something like that. I said, I need some towels. She said, in 2 minutes, would that be convenient? I said, oh yes. In 2 minutes, I'm serious, you know, this is little things. We always looking for these great, big, huge, monumental things. It's little things. And all the people, honestly, I kid you not, all the people that we met, was a group of us. They looked like they wanted to work. That's stuck in my brain. And they look like they like it. Now I'm going to tell every Bahamian worker, we love what we do. I tell you, we move heaven and earth, child. We don't know anything. When we have to call those kids, we stay in the office 11 o'clock in the night, calling them till they get home when they have to go on a job. So you have to like what you do. And the people coming to you need to believe you like it. And you have to see that. And I mean, if you all want to see it unintentional, be very careful. But look in some of the cars that's coming to work. And I say that all the time. We come from our beautiful homes that we stress ourselves out to get, from our lovely, beautiful children and our partners and spouses that we love. But look at us. And we snort, and we come out just like that, you know. And if we are coming from people we love like that, stop. Just I don't know you. Just I don't like you. Just mister, just make sure you get my pay right and calculate my tips. It's a hard thing here. And if we want to put this country back where it used to be in terms of service, because don't tell me we can't do this. My mama could write away. My daddy doesn't know he did right. Okay. There are many people, this thing was built of hearts and warmth and gratitude. And some of us have to get away and travel. Now, I heard a lady, I think the teacher, talk about the young people and staying home. But so you could kind of broaden your perspective a little bit. Start thinking about getting out of here. You could always come back home. This is your piece of the rock. So you could come back. But let me tell you, let me see if I can explain it like this. A couple of years ago, I organized an event with Les Brown, motivational speaker Les Brown. Now, y'all may like him, y'all may know him, but he's making money. He makes like $20,000, $30,000 for 20 minutes of speaking. You hear him, you judge what he says, okay? But he said to me, we were doing that event together, and he said to me, I've been hearing about you. You think you're really good, right? And I said, well, of course. And he said, Agatha, how much money do you make? I had to tell him the truth. If a Bahamian company, a Bahamian asks you to come speak for them or do a training talk and you tell them, give me $600, they'll think you're crazy. $600, you know. Okay? Don't ask the government. I asked them to retreat, and they canceled the speech. That's true. Okay? And that's what he said to me, right? He said, I'm going to make so I'm ashamed. But I told him, he says, okay, when you stand up and you can make $20,000, $30,000 Barry for a speech, you're good. And he said to me, Agatha, that's a joke to what people like T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, the deceased Stephen Covey. I was thinking of Mr. Covey in Freeport. Yeah, it's a joke to what they make. They do like $60,000, $80,000, $100,000. So he said, put it in perspective. He got out a little map, and I think he works on people with the little map. And he said, show me the Bahamas on this map. And we were 3 dots. Dot, dot, dot. He says, you always keep this in perspective. Every time I go somewhere, I look to see how other people do it. Now, if you want to measure yourself against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, then we may have fit. You know? Bermuda, Barbados, okay? But all I'm trying to say, I guess, is don't let's take on ourselves and think we are so huge and great that we don't do the thing that made us famous. So those who are some of our providers. And these were some of the hospitality, the hotel properties that interned with us, that took on some of our trainees as interns with them. They did it for a week, and I want to tell you, we had two young people, well, we had a number of young people go to Atlantis. The day when they filled the applications and all that, Atlantis took on one at the one and only Ocean Club, and the other one at the Cove. They are there. Sandals just recently hired 4 of our housekeeping attendants. British Colonial Hotel also took on some of them for us. This is what they actually do when they are out in their training. So we just finished our registration drive. Of course, the numbers fell because another institute popped up that promised jobs. So let's go ahead and start your business. And so I just want to end by telling you a little bit about what we're doing in Grand Bahama. The Grand Bahama office is scheduled to be open on March the 6th. Dr. Dabo will be hosting us March the 6th. Registration is going to run March 18th to 21st at the C.A. Smith Government Complex. We have it all reserved and worked out. The mandatory workforce prep program will start hopefully the 31st of March to April 24th, 4 weeks. Skills training from April to June for the City and Guild certification. We anticipate that as many as 350 people, those ones that I talked about. We are not looking for the ones with the 6 BGCSEs, with all C's, and including math and English. They can go to College of the Bahamas. We are looking for those people we have given up on, who have left school with nothing. To help us do that, we are going to work, and they can come from anywhere, anywhere. And to help us do it, we're going to work also through the urban renewal centers. And this is what we're going to do, because remember, we are flexible and responsive. The reason we are concentrating on this, and again we talk about not moving. Please, I lived in Freeport. I loved the Freeport. Lived here for 10 years. Didn't want to go. They said my job was made redundant. So, what y'all think I was going to do? Go where a job was not redundant. So I moved to Nassau, and look at what happened to me. I didn't know when I was going. I got bigger and bigger and bigger in the eyes of the, ended up in the parliament, all sorts of stuff. My own business, and I'm here. So stop limiting yourself. Maybe I'm supposed to be here. Now, let me tell you something else, and then I'm going to go away. I want you all to remember something. There is Nassau. Well, I'll just speak it in the atmosphere, that it's going to be well with Bahama, and by extension all the others who are going to be affected. There is Bimini. My heart bleeds. I went down to Bimini. Bimini is going to be, they are really truly building a hotel. I saw it with my own eyes. They're building it. And by the end of the summer, it'll probably be finished. They're going to need to begin at least 350 people at that hotel. We can't get people to go to Bimini. Eleuthera, sandals and Eleuthera have all sorts of headaches. They came up yesterday. They interviewed 34 of our trainees. They selected 18 of them. These are young people who we talked to, and we said, listen, if the opportunities aren't in Nassau, go to some of these places. Okay, we say that other people come, oh, they come and they get paid, accommodation, and they get free meals, and they get this and that. Those, Sandals doing for the interns, they get the same thing. The free accommodation, the free meals. They have to go through 6 weeks intern. They're going to get $60 a week. And then, if they make the grade, they're going to be hired full time. Stop thinking, we have plenty pieces of rock. If there's no opportunity for you here, go somewhere else. I don't want to leave my condo in Lucayan Towers. So that's when it used to be Lucayan Towers. So I know it is now. But I didn't want to leave my condo. I didn't want to leave my land investments here. I didn't. But y'all will come to Nassau and see what I got. Okay? Stop limiting yourselves. This is a world. It's wonderful, and the other thing employers complain about all the time is they can't get Bahamians, and that's the truth. Very few Bahamians would leave here to go and work at another property. Very few. I don't know what Club Med San Salvador is going to do with their expansion. I want y'all to think about these things, because when we get vexed, when other people want to come in, because they're hungry, they want to work. This is a beautiful place to work. This is one of the most beautiful places you ever want to imagine, the Bahamas. So how come we can't see that? Come on, we have to rise. And I will just say to you that we are trying from the bottom, because we don't need to help those who are already. We want to help those who are not. And so we are moving on. I told you we're going to be opening in Grand Bahama. In Eleuthera, we have already secured office space, and the coordinator is there. He's going to be in Exuma. The coordinator is already identified, and luckily for us, she's already involved in the City and Guilds program. And we're going to be in Andros. And it's just wonderful that what's happening in Andros is happening. A coordinator has been identified for Andros, and a coordinator is already in place in Bimini. And in Abaco, we've laid all the groundwork, and the coordinator that was identified there couldn't wait for us. So they came up to Nassau, and so you have to go back to the drawing board. But at the National Training Agency, our dream, our goal and aim is to invest in Bahamians who we say can't, because I know they can. And by doing that, we are going to transform our workforce. Are you with me?